We've reached the end of 2023, which means it's time to talk about my favorite movies of the year. Couple of quick things before we start. One, I obviously didn't see every movie that came out this year, so there might be some that would be on this list that aren't on this list because I haven't seen them. And secondly, your list is going to look very different from mine. That's the fun of opinions. We all have different ones. Real quick, I do want to bring up some honorable mentions, movies that I thought were great, that I absolutely loved, but ended up falling just short of that top 10. But my honorable mentions for 2023 are Theater Camp, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Rye Lane, Barbie, and Past Lives. All fantastic movies, all movies that I love a bunch. I just liked these 10 a little bit more. Yorgos Lanthimos is one of those directors that I feel like he can make any movie he wanted to with no boundaries, and it would fit his style, and Poor Things definitely fits that bill. The movie is just wild and absurd, and it's all led by Emma Stone's brilliant performance. It's my favorite performance by a female lead this year. The cinematography, the production design, the visual effects are all fantastic in this film. I love the visual language and the style that this film has. But the biggest standout for me is actually Mark Ruffalo in his supporting role. He is really, really fun, really, really excellent in the movie. Overall, Poor Things, just a wild time, but it was one I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm a massive Ninja Turtles fan, and this feels like the Ninja Turtles movie I have been waiting for my entire life. It is an absolute blast, and it genuinely probably is the best Ninja Turtles movie out there. I love that this movie is very clearly inspired by Spider-Verse, but it's not ripping it off. It's doing something unique and original and creative, and it feels true to the characters and the story and the presentation. The style really fits this movie. This is also like sneakily one of the funniest movies of the year. Both times I saw this in theaters, I was dying laughing. It is a fantastic time. If you are a Ninja Turtles fan, you have to get on this movie. I promise you it's worth it. Breaking news, a Martin Scorsese movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro is incredible. Who would have guessed? In all seriousness, this movie is breathtaking. It's beautiful. It's heartbreaking. It's created with expert craftsmanship. Of course, the performances are great, particularly with Lily Gladstone, but the editing was the biggest standout for me. The way that they make this 3.5-hour movie feel like 2.5 hours is absolutely incredible. The pacing is amazing. It just proves that nobody's doing it like Scorsese. My pick for biggest surprise of the year, Bottoms, was absolutely hilarious. Even in a near empty theater, I was dying laughing the entire time. The film also features this really over-exaggerated style that I thought fit the high school setting perfectly. It knows when to be over the top and ridiculous. It knows when to be realistic and down to earth. It finds that perfect balance. More than anything, however, this film just has a really strong emotional core with its two leads. They really drive this story forward and take it from not just a great comedy, but a great film in general. Original sci-fi films come few and far between these days, but the creator reminds me that there is still a space for amazing, rich, original sci-fi stories. It has all the things you come to expect out of a great science fiction film, an intriguing premise, thrilling action, dazzling visual effects, but the thing that really makes this film work is how emotionally gripping it is. I'm not ashamed to admit, I cried at the end of this movie. It's just a fantastic film, and if you're a fan of sci-fi films, please go support this one. Please check it out. It's awesome. Almost 10 years into this series, and the John Wick team is still pushing the limits and raising the bar for what a great action film can be. And John Wick Chapter 4 has truly left me wondering where they can go from here. The action is thrilling and awesome. The cinematography and production design are like genuinely Oscar-worthy and absolutely gorgeous. And the new characters like Kane and Mr. Nobody are really great additions to this series. I just love that this is the state of action movies right now, that filmmakers are being creative with the camera work and pushing the limits with stunts in order to give audiences the best, most entertaining experience they possibly can. In a year where the MCU took its biggest quality hit, it was really refreshing to get the conclusion to James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy saga. My favorite part about this movie is that while it does play into the MCU at large, it still feels self-contained, and it makes the characters' journeys the most important part of the story. It's not trying to be something that the MCU is forcing it to be. It's its own thing first and then playing into the MCU second. It's just funny and emotional and action-packed, and it's just the perfect series finale for James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. The Holdovers was the biggest warm cinematic hug I could have possibly asked for. Director Alexander Payne just gives us a really charming, emotional, heartfelt, down-to-earth story with amazing character work and amazing performances. Chances are you're going to find a character that you relate to on some level, and that's what makes this film so beautiful, is that it's just a really deeply human and personal story. If you're looking for the perfect winter dramedy film to give you a nice warm hug, make this the film you watch. I feel like there's not much more I can say about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse that hasn't already been said. Like, what more can I say? It's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's a nonstop thrill ride with boundary-pushing animation, incredible characters, and extremely high emotional stakes. I guess the biggest standout for this film would be the characters. I just love the character work in this film. It creates some really amazing character drama and conflicts between Miles and his parents, or Miles and Miguel, or Miles and Gwen. It's just really, really awesome stuff. It's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's everything we wanted it to be and more. Christopher Nolan made the consensus cinematic achievement of the year. When I think about the movies that impacted me the most, when I think about the movies that stuck with me, when I think about the movies that just completely blew me away, there's no film that fits that better than Oppenheimer. Obviously, the performances are great. Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. both deserve Oscars for their performances. Emily Blunt and even Matt Damon are both really great in this film. The cinematography is beautiful. The practical visual effects are amazing. But when I think about what made this film work, what was the biggest standout for me, it has to be the editing. The way that Christopher Nolan takes a 3-hour biopic from World War II about people just talking to each other about a bomb, and he takes that and makes the most engaging, interesting movie of the year. That is truly magical. And this is what makes Christopher Nolan so unique, that his films are just so meticulously put together and so well crafted that the editing is a standout in like all of his movies. Like when you think about Christopher Nolan's editing, you think about Memento, you think about The Prestige, you think about Inception, you think about Interstellar, you think about Dunkirk. All of these films masterfully put together, precisely put together, and Oppenheimer might top those all in terms of its editing. It is just absolutely stunning. It's breathtaking. It genuinely might be the best film of Christopher Nolan's career. And those are my picks for my 10 favorite movies of the year. Let me know what your favorite movies of the year were down in the comments. Let me know what movies should have been on this list. Let me know what movies I need to watch. Tell me where I'm wrong. Come at me. I can take it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.